Hey, as I have threatened before, I am back with more American content tonight. A bit unannounced. We've had our first run with the ALP 46 already from New York Penn to Dover. Now let's run the Arrow 3 and later maybe the ALP 45 dual power if we get to it. AJ has gone to bed, so I'm actually quite alone here on the stream. Nevertheless, always make sure that you leave the railway installations, the real ones, alone and enjoy the game as it is from the safety of your home. This train actually is what we are driving now, the Arrow 3. A GE train, General Electric. No part of the Wabtec. Or is it Wabtec? I always mix this up, but I think it is. Let's find a nice service for the Arrow 3. Hoboken to Gladstone. Gladstone, Hoboken. From Summit to Hoboken. Those services are typically limited to parts of the line, so they are not going to all the way to Dover. At least I have not found a service that goes all the way to Dover. Let's stay with custom weather clear to not run into more shader stutters. And let's see how this train here works. It's a quite oldish way of operating the train. Does not have a reverser, but like a combined forward-backward handle or lever, and a second lever for the brakes. What's the benefit of this? I'm not entirely sure. So it is 9:25 in September and we are running from Summit to Hoboken Terminal. We have to put in the control plug to take over the train, and then we can probably already open the door. Our safety systems are behind this flap here. PTC system, that is ATC and Axis, and the alerter sits up here. The fuse, oh, the fuse was already on, but here is a cutout switch. Let's ring the bell for everyone who wants to come along. Lights are on. The brakes need to be cut in and then released. Gauge, as you can see. And we can go high green and down the hill. Always have to check a bit about the speed profile. We're playing without the HUD on a new line. I always have to learn it first. So I guess 25 we have here until we get out of the station area. Here we have a relatively modern speed display unit. No dynamic brakes, just the air brakes. And let's see if we are out of the 25, yes. So we can go by the reading and accelerate to 45. That is easy because it is going downhill. We have to stop at short hills. Let's see if we have to adhere to any speed restrictions until we get there. No, it's actually increasing to 50 on the way. And not having any dynamic brakes, we have to resort to some kind of sawtooth braking. Let's scrape away 5 miles per hour and then go back. Increase to 50 actually. And from about 50 to a stop, normally would start braking at about 1500 feet. But going downhill that heavily, maybe start at 1800. And let's try how we can get used to this train and its braking capabilities.
The next station stop is Short Hills. When leaving the train, please watch the gap.
Let's see how far we get with 50. 50 just got us the suppression light. Yeah, that is a bit too much. Still have more than 500 feet to get this train to a stop. Sometime I have to investigate how this forward-backward switch actually works. What the switch off position actually does. Whoops. And all of a sudden we were at the end.
Stop is Short Hills.
Millburn is next. Going downhill again with 50. Maplewood would be 70 then. So this time let's start at 1500 feet with 50%. It's always hard to get a feel if you are in such a strong gradient.
When leaving the train, please watch the gap.
Well, the brakes are strong at any rate. The last bit is always a bit hard to achieve. A passenger door has become stuck. Identify and manually. Safety. Now I have to check the passenger doors. Can I get out of here? Yeah, I can. Hey, people! This is not actually for you. This door. So... So how am I supposed which door it is? Maybe that one. It did not say. That the fault has been resolved. Ah, here. Finally, this door did not close. Now the only door that is still open is the one that we got off the train. No, I don't want to sit in the compartment. I want to close the door. It's not... Aha! This is the button to close the local door. Good to know. And now we can actually go. Train poles for the win. And we are late, obviously. Still in the 50. Now let's run the full length of the train. And then we can accelerate to 60 while approaching Maplewood. It might have been a bit early, but well, we are late. No, it's good. Now we're stopping from 70. So maybe stop a bit earlier, like with 22.
The next station stop is Maplewood. When leaving the train, please watch the gap. This station stop is
Getting closer.
Maplewood.
I made actually up for some lost time. South Orange. Can we go with the 70 until South Orange, or do we have to slow down? No, looks good. We can go all the way with 70. Unless we get any more restricting signals. Stopping from 2200 feet from 70 was quite okay, I think. Then we have to switch off because this is a phase gap. Like a dead section.
The next station stop is South Orange. When leaving the train, please watch the gap.
So, almost stopped short.
This station stop is South Orange.
We actually made it back in the timetable. And are even 10 seconds early. Should be within the 70 to Mountain, yes. Towards Orange there will be a drop to 60 later, as it seems. But first we can just go through. It's very close. I doubt that we can actually make it up to the 70. The fuse has tripped.
Station stop is Mountain Station. When leaving the train, please watch the gap.
Well, the fuse we can restore. When we're sitting at the station.
This station stop is Mountain Station.
So what fuse was it? Is there anyone that is tripped? And here we are. Interesting. Highland Avenue. So we will probably run into the limit to 60 before we get there.
The next station stop is Highland Avenue. When leaving the train, please watch the gap. This station stop is Highland Avenue.
Now starting into the 60 limit. Oh yeah, that looks nice. There we have tail lights on. Yes.
The next station stop is Orange. When leaving the train, please watch the gap. This station stop is Orange.
It rather wants us to go a bit far. That passenger door has become stuck. And let's see which one it is. Those look good. Those look good. Probably this one.
Please stand back from the yellow line. Watch the gap between the train and the
Alright. Door problem solved. It's really a bit weird that they sit us on the top of a trapdoor here. Brick church. That means 60 all the way.
The next station stop is Brick Church. When leaving the train, please watch the gap.
East Orange. Very close. Not far to go. And there is this limit to 45, as it seems. No, not 45, 35. 55. This is where the other line comes in. Probably
The next stop is East Orange. When leaving the train, please watch the gap. This station stop is East.
So we will go, and now the 35 for the incoming line, and then 30. Let's see if Access counts this down here. If it does, then it should actually be quite a long countdown. Well, it does not need to count it down because we got an approach limited signal that limits us to 45 for now. And now actually getting closer to that thing. Well, could have waited for the countdown maybe. But well. For future reference, it's enough to start slowing down when we're getting into this trench. Now you can see the countdown on the SDU. From the left, there's a different NJ transit line coming in. We're getting a medium clear here, slowing us down to 30 even. While the ADU still displays an approach medium 45 aspect. Cap signal back. Here it even drops a bit to the can accelerate a bit in between, not much. 55 is line speed and then back to 30 for the stop. High green, 45, temporary speed restriction announced.
The next station stop is Newark Broad Street. When leaving the train, please watch the gap.
Next fuse is stripped. Countdown has started. Here we have a medium clear. Come on. Move your behind out of the yellow zone, please.
This station stop is
So let's see.
Broad Street.
Which fuse flipped again? The heater fuse. And the game thinks that the fault has been fixed by resetting the fuse. Well, let's be as optimistic as the game. Medium clear. On the bridge. We will be on 30 on the bridge, and then 55, 45, 75. And we are on the straight where the trains from the Caucasus are coming in. So isn't that something to watch? High green again. Upgrade to 55. Train still has to run its length. Meadows is the next stop in 3.2 miles. Let's see if anything else is happening here. Oh, and that calls for an approach limited signal here. Countdown in progress. Nice thing on this train, we can actually replicate the brake curve. That was our temporary speed restriction, I guess. Train has to run its length. And we can accelerate to 75. And after that, can we go all 75 until we get to Meadows? Probably. At least we're getting high greens. Let's check for safety reasons. No, it looks like we can do that. Pace gap. So we have to coast. Alright. Now we are much too early. How did we do that? Why are we so far ahead of our timetable? And why does the train, the game wants us to stop before this little platform actually is over? Light arrow. What do we have to do now? Now it's getting really slow. Entering a 30 part, as it seems from here. Next stop is already Hoboken Terminal. Still high green. How far is it until we get to the 30? 1 mile and a steep incline. Countdown started. It's actually quite cool. Countdown starts and then we are getting jumped by an approach limiting us to 45. And then probably the countdown will overtake the 45 again and limit us further on to 30. That was the advanced approach, also 45. Now the countdown is overtaking us, as I said, without a new introductory sound. And here is the approach medium. Ooh, no. Too much, too much. .30 is just okay. Here's the approach on the cap. Now an approach slow. So at the next signal we have to be at 15. Hope maybe we get a restricting on the cap before we meet the next signals. Well, we don't. Here's the slow clear. And the drop to restricting on the cab. So the cab signal aspect should, the signal aspect should be limiting us to 15, but it is only enforced with a 20 limit via the restricting cab signal. And we're going slowly into Bergen Tunnel. Ditch light crossing fuse. We don't have a CFO pedal. It's that one here. So we can easily stand. Now we set through the wall in the passenger compartment. Interesting development. We actually glitched through the wall to sit in the passenger compartment. Now it allows us to go 30 again. Well, okay. So I really wonder why those little signals are not treated as dwarf signals, with the effect that the one green light should limit us to a slow clear and 15 instead of the 30 and medium. Now we're getting actually a high green on the dwarf with the two green lights. It allows us to go line speed. Medium clear, no approach medium, but this does not really change a lot. Again, the ADU shows us approach limited instead of approach medium. Now we're getting an approach slow. And admittedly a lot of lags in Hoboken station.
The next station stop is Hoboken. When leaving the train, please watch the gas.
Hoboken. Here's the slow clear. And this translates to a restricted cab signal. Now, improve to 25. Why did it do that? You're still restricting. So why the SDU is giving us a 20? I don't know. Should still be at 15. Maybe because there is no ACES coverage here, so we're only getting the 20 for the restricted. And finally we are on the track where we are supposed to arrive. So, let's try not to run into the buffer block. For the purists among us, they actually placed a red light there.
This station stop is Hoboken.
And we are 3 seconds early compared to the timetable. Isn't that wonderful? Broken Terminal, Hoboken. So that was the run with the arrow. I still have to do a run with the ALP 45DP, the deluxe locomotive. I will probably not do this tonight, but sometime else when I get around to doing it. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I hope you had fun with the Arrow 3. Actually, I like driving this train. It's a quite handy train to drive. And I like the American route in Trains in World 6. Thank you guys. Take care of yourself. And see you soon.